Now, a very good evening to you and many thanks for joining us on Y254 News at 7. My name is Doreen Arange, and remember, being a Monday, we get to talk about current affairs, things happening in our local society. And in studio tonight, I'm in the company of three guests who shall be helping us discuss some of these emerging issues, among them being the police brutality on the university students. So keep talking to us. 22162, starting with the word news, is the number to text us with, or you can tweet us at Y254 channel, and the hashtag is Y254 News Updates, or you can tweet me directly at Doreen Arange, and I shall be sampling some of these views, comments, and suggestions as we move along with this bulletin. So keep in mind, it's going to be an interesting discussion, conversation that you do not want to miss, and we shall be delving into that in a short while. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the highlights. And now, starting off, President Kenyatta today met with Jubilee elected women leaders at State House. The meeting that was attended by over 10,000 women saw the leaders present, execute confidence of winning the coming polls.
With only 23 days to the repeat presidential elections, President Kenyatta today met with Jubilee-elected women leaders at State House. Here, the women unanimously vowed and pledged to campaign and vote for the president come 26th of this month. Addressing the women, Bomet Governor Honorable Joyce Laboso asked the women to work around the clock to ensure President Kenyatta is re-elected to the top office on the land. She also commended Rachel Shebesh, Cecily Mbarire, Naomi Shaban, Anne Waiguru and herself for seeing through the arrangement of today's meeting. Speaking during the meeting, the DP took account of the majority leaders elected in both houses, including MCAs on a Jubilee ticket. President Kenyatta on his side asked the women to vote for him, saying that the stability of this nation is established on women. He also added that the Jubilee administration has done so much and there's much more to come when re-elected. The president didn't, however, fail to talk about the Supreme Court's verdict and the NASA's demand, saying if they celebrated the ruling, they should as well celebrate the repeat elections. The Supreme Court nullified the presidential result that announced President Kenyatta as the winner of the August 8th general elections, saying that there were illegalities and irregularities on the transmission of presidential results. The court ordered the IEBC to conduct fresh presidential elections within 60 days after the ruling. The elections will now be held on Thursday 26th of this month. However, there have been countrywide anti-IEBC demonstrations by NASA supporters for the removal of IEBC CEO Ezra Chiloba and other commissioners. Today in Mombasa, Kakamega, Nairobi and Kisumu, there were demonstrations and the police had a hard time dispersing demonstrators, with Kisumu police running out of tear gas. For Y254 News, my name is Dereva Hilary.
And now, the police action on Friday followed a demonstration by the students demanding the release of Embakasi East MP Paul Ongili, popularly known as Babu Owino. Some National Super Alliance NASA MPs and a section of student leaders condemned what they described as police brutality. The police action followed a demonstration by the students for the release of Embakasi East MP Babu Owino. Mr. Ongili, a former students leader at the university, had been arrested for allegedly making abusive remarks against President Uhuru Kenyatta. When the officers raided the students' hostels, most of them went to structures for first-year learners. They are said to have forced open some wooden doors. This resulted to a number of learners complaining of stolen valuables. Police who raided the University of Nairobi to quell protests have also been accused of not only beating up students brutally, but also demanding money before releasing them. Students who were caught up in the protest claim that at some point, police officers asked them to part with money. The situation has seen different stakeholders coming to seek justice for the affected students. The Kenya National Commission of Human Rights, KNCHR, and the Independent Police Oversight Authority, IPOA, has said they are looking into the matter. According to them, it is not clear that every single student who was beaten by the police was involved in law breaking or was lawfully beaten according to the guidelines that govern the use of force by police under the 6th schedule of the National Police Service Act 2011. Reporting for Y254, I'm Doreen Arange. Remember, that story forms our question for tonight, which we'll of course be discussing in a short while, where we are asking you, what is your take on the police brutality on the university students? I'll take that again. What is your take on the police brutality on the university students? Remember to keep talking to us. 22162, starting with the word news, is the number to text us with, or you can tweet us at Y254 channel, and the hashtag is Y254 News Updates. So now moving on, the acting Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, has finally spoken over the brutality meted by the police on the University of Nairobi students following protests last week on Thursday. Nyamira County said police officers involved in the act are bound to face the full force of the law.
Fred Matiang'i, who is also the Cabinet Secretary for Education, said that investigations are already being carried out to bring the culprits to book. He expressed his distrust on what is being circulated on social media, which has resulted to conclusions that police beat up students in hostels and lecture halls. Police were also captured on amateur cameras badly beating helpless students within the university compound, inflicting serious injuries on some of them. Julie Owino, reporting for Y254 News.
And now in other news, Apollo Mboya, former Law Society of Kenya CEO, has filed a petition seeking removal of Supreme Court Judge Njoki Ndung'u, removal for gross misconduct and misbehavior. In the petition to the Judicial Service Commission, JSC, filed on Friday, Apollo Mboya bases his arguments on the full judgment Justice Ndung'u delivered on the 20th of September.
Justice Njoki Ndung'u listed reasons for dissenting with the majority decision of the 4 judges. The advocate believes her 440-page judgment revealed that she exhibited lack of courtesy and civility towards the law and the other judges. The lawyer singles out a statement in which Justice Ndung'u's decision to direct lower courts to disobey the majority decision. Mboya, in an affidavit accompanying the petition sent to JSC, said that Ndung'u should be removed from office for breach of her oath in office. He said it was not humanly possible for the judge to examine all the disputed forms from August 28th to September 1st, being the date of the judgment. In paragraph 662 of her dissenting judgment, Ndung'u said the majority did not personally examine the original forms deposited at the registry. She said that in the interest of justice, she examined each of the forms that had been disputed. In her dissent, Justice Ndung'u also continued to say that law courts are not without an option. The decision by the majority is one given in a presidential election and which does not usurp the jurisdiction of the lower courts in electoral disputes. On this, the petition says the Lady Justice has exhibited lack of professional competence and has also refused as well as ignored to exhibit the value of equality. Hilda Wadhithi for Y News.
And now the government has cut ties with an international non-governmental organization it accuses of having undue influence on the judiciary. In a letter to International Development Law Organization IDLO, Director General Irene Khan, Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed said the agreement between Kenya and the organization was being suspended. To you in a short while, but remember to keep talking to us, and the question of the day is, what is your take on the police brutality on the university students? What is your take on the police brutality? So we'll take that clip now. The letter was copied to Attorney General Githu Muigai and Director of Immigration Gordon Kihalangwa. In the same breath, the government is now lobbying 14 other countries that have ties with the IDLO to terminate them. On Wednesday, Ms. Mohammed was in Egypt, where she informed Egyptian authorities about the workings of IDLO. However, Chief Registrar at the Judiciary, Ann Amadi, has previously laughed off claims that the judiciary was held captive by non-state actors judges and said that they were just donors who fund the judiciary, and it is so ridiculous to claim that the donors influence the judges. Jubilee accuses IDLO of having funded researchers who work for judges and are therefore able to influence how judges make rulings. Remember, as I had told you earlier tonight, we are discussing the police brutality on the university students, and my guests tonight are ready for that discussion. How are you guys?
We are fine,
Okay,
thank you.
so starting us off, I just want to, you know, as you have asked Kenyans, you know, and the young people especially, to give us their take. What is your take personally? Starting with you, Hillary. What on AJE, police, students? I love to you and Kilasa. What is your take?
Okay, for me, it's a win-win situation, or 50-50 rather, because if you look at it, we have the right to demonstrate, but honestly it doesn't be tragic where you find the allegations that police went to the UN that is, and beat the students. To me it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Viv?
On my side, I may say that yes, constitutionally we are allowed to demonstrate, you know, and these demonstrations are supposed to be peaceful demonstrations. But when we have guys getting hurt in the midst of the demonstrations, that is, we see them throwing stones and all that, I think it's not right. But then again, on the case of the police officers going inside the school, inside the institution rather, at the University of Nairobi, them going inside there, I guess that was a bad decision, because you really are not sure if the people who you find inside the school were part of the demonstrations. You know, if these people are being beaten somewhere on the streets, I'm not saying it would be okay, but that will be, I guess, at least kuliko vile waliwafuata hadi ndani ya shule. So even those that were inside the school hawakuwa na demonstrate got in between that.
And I like the way you said, so just coming to you, Kabo, the way Viviana said, you know, the demonstrations are being peaceful and it's our right to demonstrate in a peaceful way, right? So what happened to the ones who were inside the school and the police went inside and they were, you see, many clips have shown us when you're on our chapa, it's just, what do you think?
I simply have to say that the police were doing what they are mandated by the constitution to do. The fact that they went inside is because the students have a certain history of looting and making some funny demonstrations. So, you know why I'm saying this is because, you know, I will go back to Kiswahili a little bit and say, samaki moja kioza, probably the rest of them will be contaminated. The reason is because if we continue
collective.
I'm trying to say this because the fact that we are having some students inside here who are still, you know, looting and, you know, nobody's doing anything to do with them. You know, the problem is, it's just like terrorists. Nowhere you will find a name written on people's forehead that I'm a terrorist. So the fact that majority of the students were from University of Nairobi, it puts clearly that most of them belong there. And you cannot be able to say he's a demonstrator. So the good thing is, you just wrap them up. And,
no, I beg to differ. I beg to differ on that. I beg to differ on that.
Hostels.
Yeah.
You know, we have seen quite a couple of clips, you know, showing the police going to the hostels, whether they were true police or not, because there's also a question whereby some people just purport themselves to be policemen, wearing those uniforms, and they're not actually policemen. So showing some clips where tunaona wanaenda huko ndani ya hostel. What has someone in a hostel got to do
with those
demonstrations?
demonstrations?
You know, I will continue debating on saying this. Why is it that we are not seeing other universities? It is because we have a culture, and I will say allegedly, the fact that we have Babu Owino, the former you know student leader from the same university, there's been a culture of violence, and the small, not small, but the freshmen, I'll say I'm sorry to them because they never got to understand the culture of the place. They never got
orientation.
They never got those orientation and know that when there is chaos, you need to run.
You don't stay in the school.
In the same university. We must do the issues as they are.
Okay, you know, you just said so much, a lot that it makes me think, so who is to blame? Vivian, who is to blame? Is it the students now on this end? Is it the police? Who do you think is to blame? Or no one is to blame?
No, the students who were demonstrating, no, the students who were demonstrating and throwing stones and causing some kind of chaos are to be blamed. And the policemen, on the other hand, those who went inside the institution to beat up students and torture them in one way or the other are also to blame. Because if truly they're doing their work, as he said that they were doing their job as the police, if truly they were doing their job, that means wangewashikia huko nje, because they were not demonstrating inside the school, you know. The photos we were seeing or the videos inside that institution were them being beaten, not them demonstrating. The demonstrations, we were seeing them outside the school. So wangewashikia huko nje. And then, I mean, what are policemen supposed to do? Si wakushika, then they charge you, you're taken to court. Yeah.
Who do you think is to blame?
I would like to first echo what Kalva said, because one, I heard that some of the students were demonstrating for the release of Babu Owino.
Yeah.
Another allegation is that they were demonstrating to show solidarity with what Babu Owino was going through. Number two, I want to believe most of the students there have IDs. Of course, they want their rights to be seen through. But now, the problem is, how do you demonstrate? We've had a series of demonstrations in our country, from doctors to nurses and even teachers. But see how these people conduct themselves during demonstrations. How many of the people who are demonstrating today doing the same? Because the Constitution allows you to demonstrate peacefully, picket if you want, but don't throw stones, don't burn anything or torch houses. What are these people doing?
But you see, now this begs me to ask this question again. I clearly get you what you're saying, but what happens to these students who, we've even seen some other photos whereby the students, you know, with their bags and they're making lines going. Clearly it shows that these students maybe were studying something in the library. So what do they have got to do with them demonstrating, with the police coming to where they are and start to beat them?
You see, the problem is, the people who are demonstrating here, they ran there, and the police had to follow them to do what? To maintain order. So it's where you say mteguapanya unasa waliokuwemo na wasiokuwemo. That is what happened.
So it was just their bad.
Collateral damage.
I will blame three people here.
We can't say they're bad. I mean, you just can't go there and start beating everyone.
You see, I have to blame the security structure in the institution. Secondly, I will have to blame the student leadership in the same institution. And again, be able to blame the system, you know, the government, not the government, but the whole institutional kind of, you know, leadership. The fact that they knew that, how comes that people are running from the city to the institution? That means they have a weak kind of security structure there.
But what if others jumped over? You know.
You see, now that is not the problem of the police. It is a problem of the institution. So if they know that the institution is somewhere close to the CBD where people can demonstrate, where things can go wrong, then they need to up their game in terms of the security structure. As we speak right now, I have to blame them. Because, you know,
the
you
institution security.
Yes, institution security, and again we still have the student leadership, because part of it is the students, most of them, allegedly anyway, went into the demonstration because of their former
student leader.
So you see, I still have to blame them. And the fact that the institution management still knew that the University of Nairobi has a sequence of looting and demonstration. They ought to have done something. You know, I think I really see it.
Just to come anything that might happen to the freshers, because ideally these are the freshers mostly who have been affected, right? But then again, just to a bit deviate, we've seen different stakeholders coming in. We've seen KNHCR, we've seen IPOA, we've also seen Matiang'i coming to, you know, talk about what does that say about this country, especially in terms of, you know, issues and problems. We come together. So can this spirit still be maintained any time where we don't have issues? Why do we just have to always have issues to have people coming together all the time? What do you think? Starting with you, Viv.
Okay, it's something we've always seen. When there's a problem, that's when people... And I think you can't start solving problems when there's no problem. Exactly. So I think it's just logical. When things happen, ndo tunaona watu wakikam through.
That's how we know we are Kenyans.
Yeah. It's just logic.
Okay, what do you think, Hillary?
I think I'll have to differ with that because
Because sometimes even in normal times tuna hatingi ati we not your hate. Like in your time, why can't we just love each other all the time, you know?
Okay.
Okay, that's true, but now you see when someone, let me use our athletes, when they win, we celebrate them.
Yeah.
We also find ourselves, we don't mind who is who, but we celebrate. The same thing happens when there's a problem. Just to go back a little bit, yesterday I happened to listen to the IG, and whatever we've had, to him the information was so wrong. So I don't know where the leakage is, but he has some points. He has some point because like Kavo has just said, why did those people who are demonstrating went to UN? They would have rather gone to maybe Central Park or Uhuru Park
Instead of the school.
or any other facility that is around in town, but they went to UN, meaning there's a way or there's
So it's
some
just a UN
connection
kind of-
between demonstrators and UN students.
You know what I'll say? If I'm a thief, you associate me with a thief. You can't tell me that I'm a pastor and I go to a club and you expect me to go and preach to them. If I go, I'm trying to say where I belong is how, where I put myself into in the society is where people see like this is where I belong.
Okay.
So if people associate UN with looting and demonstrating, and they think that when I'm in the UN compound I am safe because every other person there is a demonstrator, nobody's going to throw me outside, then I think that is a reputation that they have put. So they have a reputation to guard,
Okay.
and to come clean to the society and tell them, you know what, UN is off, we do not want demonstrators. I think they need to do something.
Okay. So I'll just get your parting shots, but then I think also orientation is important for students when you get to campus.
Yeah, very important.
Very important. All right. So just get your parting shots on this issue, starting with you, Kavo, as we move to Hillary.
I'll say that demonstrating is bad. Police should not be doing what? Being brutal. And to the freshmen, please understand the culture of a place. It is usually very good. And of course, with all the demonstrators, especially to the young guys, they should understand that they have a future to secure. Some of them have not married, some of them have not had a fancy life as they wish. So they better keep to their life to enjoy it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I guess mine, I'll just make it short. Let's just maintain peace in all ways, no matter what. If we really need those demonstrations, let them be peaceful. Not just peaceful, but peaceful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hillary?
Kenyans, let us know that we have a right to demonstrate, but peaceful demonstration. You don't have to throw stones for you to be heard. You don't have to touch houses or burn tires on the road for you to be heard. Just walk peacefully, do your thing, conduct yourself with decorum, and everyone will respect that and you will be heard. Again, stay away. If you can't demonstrate peacefully, just stay home.
Don't go to school.
Yeah, kwa sababu unajiwekea hasara. These people you're demonstrating for, they even don't know where you come from or even your name rather. They don't know you. They will never bring unga on your table. Just stay home.
So you are partially saying demonstration is good, is bad?
It is good when it is done in the right way. Yeah, but if you now start destroying other people's property, then you're doing the wrong thing. And of course the police will be on you because their work is to maintain peace and order.
Yeah, this is a conversation that is not even ending. we can continue talking about this over and over. But remember, this conversation continues off air, and you can keep sending in your views and comments. So right now we move on to international news, and now 2 women have pleaded not guilty to murdering Kim Jong-nam, the half-brother of North Korea's leader, as their trial in Malaysia got underway. The brazen nature of his killing using the highly toxic VX nerve agent as he waited for a flight at Kuala Lumpur airport in February shocked the world.
The trial has been 8 months in the making, and the 2 women are the only suspects actually charged so far with the murder of Kim Jong-nam. Vietnamese Don Thi Huong, 29, and Indonesian Siti Aisyah, 25, are accused of rubbing the chemical onto his face. The pair say, tricked by North Korean agents, they thought it was a TV prank. Pyongyang has denied any involvement in the killing, but in court, prosecutors said that 4 men believed to be a reference to 4 North Koreans who fled Malaysia the same day were also suspects in the killing. With their heads bowed and wearing headscarves and bulletproof vests, the women walked past a horde of journalists gathered outside the court in Shah Alam outside Kuala Lumpur. After the charges were read to them in court in Indonesian and Vietnamese, the 2 women entered their pleas through interpreters. If found guilty, the women faced the death penalty. Their defense lawyers are likely to argue that the real culprits are North Korean agents who left Malaysia. The incident led to a bitter diplomatic row and strained the once cordial ties between North Korea and Malaysia, which expelled each other's ambassadors. For Y254 News Highlights, my name is Abdul Razak Ngutia.
And now moving on, at least 50 people have been killed and another 200 have been injured in a mass shooting at Las Vegas concert. A gunman named as 64-year-old Stephen Paddock opened fire from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel towards an open-air music festival.
Police say a suspect identified as 64-year-old Stephen Paddock opened fire from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel toward an open-air music festival in Las Vegas. Witnesses reported that hundreds of shots were fired. Hundreds of people fled the scene and the sound of what appeared to be prolonged automatic gunfire could be heard on videos posted on social media. Sheriff Joe Lambordo said police believed the shooting was a lone wolf-style attack, but confirmed they were trying to locate an Asian female named as Marilu Danley. Sheriff Lambordo said he was unable to accurately say the number of dead and injured, but confirmed 2 off-duty officers were among those killed. Many hotels on the Las Vegas Strip close to the scene remain on police lockdown as they search for 2 vehicles in relation to the attack. Reporting for Y254 News Highlights, I am Karen Njisa.
And now that story marks the end of our bulletin tonight. Remember to keep talking to us. Our SMS line is 22162, starting with the word news, or you can tweet us at Y254 channel, and the hashtag is Y254 News Update. So keep watching Y254. Y Mashariki is coming up in a bit. And remember to tune in tomorrow again as we discuss matters business. And on behalf of me and the entire news team that made this bulletin a success, we say thank you so much for watching. My name is Doreen Arange. Good night and stay blessed.